is Vanessa, and I'm a 2L at Washington University School of Law in St. Louis. If you're not new here, I'm so sorry, because this is the first time you're seeing my face in months, and I am aware of that, and I honestly have no excuse. I was just uninspired, unmotivated, and kind of unsure on how I wanted to take the channel moving forward, so I just stopped posting altogether. But this is the resurrection. Yeah, there's a lot of gaps to fill in, you know. I was last a second semester 1L, and now I'm about to start 2L next week, and so yeah, let's talk about how 1L really went. In this video, I want to talk about academics, social, mental health, jobs, and just general updates going into 2L, so you guys are all caught up on what's going on in my life. Let's get started with academics. So overall, I did pretty well. Second semester, I did a lot better than first semester. I did not do as well as I would have hoped, you know, coming into law school, but, you know, on that same vein, coming into law school, people tell you all the time that it's like nothing you've ever done before. It's going to be so hard. It's going to be so different. So I didn't come into law school expecting a 4.0, but I very much was expecting like a 3.99. So I didn't get 3.99. But I do think it's possible to get that 4.0 or above in law school. It just takes a lot of intentionality and discipline that I don't think that I personally was prepared to give up front. I think, you know, a large part of that comes from, you know, having a game plan going in. You're not just like going in like every other academic endeavor you've done, but you're going in knowing that this is different. And that comes with scheduling and being disciplined to stick with that schedule, reviewing early, going to office hours, doing practice exams, all those sort of things throughout the year so that you can kind of, you know, distinguish yourself. Law school, what I found out, is not all about just reading and going to class. And, you know, in undergrad and other, you know, maybe in some master's programs and other graduate programs, you have some periodic check-in, you know, whether it's a quiz, whether it's a project, whether it's just, you know, turning in a draft of an assignment. Even in the corporate world, before I started law school, we would have check-in meetings every week. So I was used to having some sort of external accountability. Law school does not have that. So I had to like figure out how to navigate having just one exam and that exam be cumulative and nothing else throughout the year. So that was kind of hard for me to, you know, especially first semester, figure out how to add in like literally just reviewing my notes or outlining, you know, earlier than when it was time for the test. Because one thing about me, I've succeeded at very high levels before without having to like really like, so I just like to study closer to an exam, which I know is who I am as a person. But before that, I need to be reviewing, I need to be doing those things. And I just was not like at all thinking like that first semester. Second semester, I reviewed a little bit more, but it wasn't, you know, as deep as I needed it to be still. But I did much better second semester, so something worked out. And I think a large part of that too just came with having better professors second semester who built review into the class. Like, I think that really helped me do active recall. So grade wise, I did fine. My best class first semester was contract law. Well, my best doctrinal class was contract law. My best class overall was our legal writing kind of class. And then second semester, my best class overall was civil procedure and best doctrinal as well. So yeah. Another thing about academics that I think kind of stressed me or made me a little bit unprepared, if you will, is the fact that law school is graded on a curve. If you have not heard of that before, it essentially means that everything that we do, or, you know, every test that we take is graded comparatively rather than individually. So for example, if you think of the normal curve, most people will fall towards like the middle, and then to get higher grade, you kind of have to do a lot better, and there are small differences that will make that, higher grade. That's kind of hard because I'm used to just telling you the sky is blue and being able to get the answer correct without having to like think about how other people describe the sky. And so when you're taking an exam, if you feel really good about that exam, it really doesn't matter if everyone else felt really good about that exam, because you could literally just fall in the middle. If you feel really good about an exam and other people don't, I don't know, you might be at the top. Overall, grades were okay, or better than okay. Grades were good. Didn't do as great though as I would have hoped. Cold calls are not that bad. The curve is annoying, and I am still here, so I did something right. Okay, so let's talk about the social life. I had a great friend group. I genuinely love my friends. Like, these are going to be people in my wedding kind of thing. Like, I'm so thankful for that, because it's not always the case where you find someone who is, or find a group of people who are just like your people. And I think a large part of that had to do with joining affinity groups. So I joined BOLSA, the Black Law Students Association. I highly encourage you to join that if you are starting your first year of law school, or even if you're already in law school and haven't joined one before. I think it's so much easier to find friends in groups than it is just like in class, especially in those humongous lecture halls. And those are my people, okay? It's also great because you get to see and be around people who have sometimes similar interests, similar backgrounds, similar experiences, and it just kind of helps you to not feel so alone in law school. So yeah, I really am so happy I joined BOLSA, and I'm so happy that I got such a great friend group. I generally like social life. I'm more of a homebody, so I didn't really go out that much. I kind of just hung out with my friends and went to class. But there are built-in like social things in law school. For example, there's bar review. So every Thursday, my school will go to like a local bar in town and just buy drinks for everyone and have people go out there and just mingle and, have fun or whatever. And then they'd have like different events on campus sometimes. Those affinity orgs would have events and, different things like that. So I think the social life can be built in there, and how much you take advantage of that is kind of up to you. Mental health. I think law school, similar to what I said in my first impressions video, can be lonely. It can be isolating. You can't talk as much to your friends and your family and just like watch Netflix or like go for a walk. Like, you don't have time for as much. So I think it makes it kind of lonely, and it kind of takes away some of the things that make the human experience so enjoyable. I also think that it could be hard for others who are not in law school to kind of understand what you're going through, and I think that is kind of lonely too, because, it's just like something you can't explain. And so when you do want an escape from law school, it's like hard to like answer the question of how is law school without just saying, oh, it's good, or oh, it's bad, but I also think being able to escape from law school has helped me too, not always having to talk about law school. And then also it's lonely just because, at least for me, everyone is far away. Like, I'm from Atlanta, I'm in St. Louis. That's, not just a short drive over there. And so you just kind of miss people, you miss your family, you miss your friends, you miss your hometown. Like, they're just things that can kind of make it lonely. I think another thing regarding mental health would probably be like the self-doubt that creeps in, or sometimes just like storms in. And you just kind of start to doubt your own abilities. And especially going to a top law school, I think that is even more pronounced sometimes, because things that maybe would have made you comfortable or confident before are kind of normal here. So like, for example, I can't rest on the fact that I'm like, oh, I was like valedictorian, or oh, I did, because everyone was valedictorian. I can't rest on the fact that, oh, I've done this before law school, because everyone did fun stuff before law school or cool stuff. And it's just like, okay, so then you start to like see subtle things and you kind of are like, oh, well, they're actually really smart, or they're doing this, and you just start to doubt yourself. And I'm not someone who lacks confidence in my abilities. Like, I thank God for giving me the confidence, but I understand that I am capable and smart and intelligent. But I think law school makes you kind of mistake being disciplined and being good at working hard with being smart. So you start to think that the people who are getting the best grades are smarter than you. They're not smarter than you. They just worked a little bit harder than you, and I can admit that. And so I think one way to get out of that for me has been making sure I'm surrounding myself with people and voices that are gonna affirm that I am smart and that I do belong here, because truly the equalizer among us is that we're smart. We're at a top law school. How could we not be smart? That's the equalizer. And so I understand I just need to work hard. Hi guys, it's Editing Vanessa. I just kind of want to reframe what I said, because honestly, it's not even working hard, because okay, I be working hard. I think it's working smart and just being aware of the necessity of things like reviewing or going to office hours. Because truly, even if you start getting into that cycle of thinking, oh, I'm not working hard enough, oh my God, that's a whole nother self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, self-doubt in general, self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't think you're doing it. You don't think you belong. You start acting like you don't belong. Then the results say you don't belong, and now you really think you don't belong. Now let's talk about jobs. Man, your girl is employed. I am so thankful. Thank you, Lord. You did your big one with that one, because truly it was a nightmare. Finding jobs in law school is a nightmare that no one talks about. The timeline is crazy. The rarity of the most prestigious jobs is crazy. The atmosphere in the law school is crazy. OCI is insane. So let me just kind of break that down a little bit. So the timeline, like I said, crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. You start applying for summer jobs for after your first year in like November, December, which actually tends to line up perfectly with final exams, your first ones you've ever taken. So it's like really kind of stressful. So some people decide not to apply to a single job until after they finished exams. I was one of those people. But if you do that, you need to make sure like all of your material is ready. I mean, resume, cover letter, applications, whatever statements they have, to just be going out there, submitting. And my school had like a metric, like we should hit like 100 jobs. And so like my entire winter break, I spent applying to jobs. And even reaching 100 is not as easy as it seems. It doesn't even seem easy, but it's not like as easy as people make it seem. Because even if you just have to change a name here or change a name there, I want to make myself a little bit more personalized, but also like you can't just always change a name. Like you have to like think about it. And even if you are just changing a name, it's still time consuming and it will take up forever. So I think that's crazy. When we come back to school in January, some people are still applying, because some people maybe didn't apply to those 100 jobs. They're just applying to, they've applied to 50 or they've applied to 25. And so people are still applying. Some people are already getting interviews. Some people are already getting offers. So it's really, really like a weird place to be, because there's just, you're in one of the three camps, and it just feels kind of unsettling, I guess, when you see like someone post on LinkedIn, oh, I just got an offer, blah, 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 and you haven't even gotten a single interview yet. Or when you are getting interviews and, you know, you're not getting results, you're not getting the acceptances and the offers, it's kind of disheartening too. I had my first interview in January, which was with a firm I absolutely love that firm. And then I was like, okay, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket. Ended up not working at that firm, which is another thing. Like, the first interview you have may not be the job you end up getting. And so, like, just going through that process over and over is like draining. Preparing for interviews. But yeah, I ended up getting a job in around February. So that was still relatively early. But even waiting till February, I felt like I was losing it because, like, everyone is just talking in the law school. It's so annoying. You've got to, like, put on your blinders, especially around that time. The other thing about jobs is that schools will do OCI, which is on-campus interviews. That means that these firms and these employers are coming to your campus and interviewing people. But listen, when you're applying to those jobs for those interviews, 100 people can apply to that job. If they're only interviewing 20 people, only 20 people are gonna get it. So then, because, you know, we're having interviews and job applications while we're in school, people are, like, in class in their suits. And so it becomes like almost a thing, like, oh yeah, I got to wear my suit today, ha ha ha. Or maybe somebody else is wearing their suit and you're not wearing a suit, and you know what employers are on campus and you're like, oh my God, they have an interview today. Like, it's just like, oh, it's so toxic. It's so bad. But you know, I made it through. I'm on the other side. But I think also with that timeline, it was just kind of hard to focus on school because it's like I'm literally actively trying to find a job with every waking moment that I have. So yeah, it's a weird place. Another thing about that as well, when it comes to finding a job, the reason why it's kind of stressful, especially during 1L, is that 1L jobs are kind of rare, especially in big law. So there's all these different types of jobs you can get. Like, you can get a big law job, a government job, you can work with a judge, you can work in-house, you can work public interest, and other things I'm sure I'm missing. But what, you know, most career centers focus on and what you hear people talking about all the time on all the apps is big law. It's one of the most prestigious things you can do, especially as a 1L. And it's very rare for 1Ls. So big law is essentially those big, you know, national firms who have different practice areas. They have hundreds of, you know, attorneys working there. They're paying you big bucks. Okay, they're paying you a lot of money. They're giving you a lot of perks. Like, you're going to games, you're going to, like, do fun activities, you're eating out every day. Like, it is very much a sweet life. But they're rare, very rare for 1Ls. Some firms will have like 20 2L positions and 2 1L positions. Like, it's just very rare. And so when you get one of those, it's like a coveted thing. And I think that's, you know, why finding a job is also kind of hard, is because there's not that many of them out there. And you're competing with people, you know, in your own school, but also people from the regions you're trying to enter into. And for other jobs, the timelines are just different. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I'm very blessed. I did get a 1L big law job. So thankful. I absolutely love my firm, and I'll be returning there 2L summer. So I'm really excited to dive back in. So general 2L updates. I think, you know, working this summer kind of made me open my eyes to other practice areas that are out there. So I came into law school very litigation leaning. I don't know anymore. I did a lot of corporate projects or transactional projects this summer, which is more of like the deals, the mergers, the acquisitions, and less of like the courtroom or like the traditional lawyer that you see on TV. And I really did like the transactional work. So I don't know, I'm kind of split now. I also got to work with some data privacy people, and that's something that I was always interested in, but I never kind of pursued. And so I might like go full throttle and join tech law this year. Like, I don't know, I'm just really gonna try to use the rest of my law school life to see what I might be interested in. Second big thing, I made Law Review. I'm so excited. And so Law Review is a journal at every law school. It's really, really prestigious. You want to make a journal. Law review is like, and so I'm so excited. Write-on though, there's a write-on competition before you can get on the journal. Worst week of my life in law school. Even worse, I think, than final exam season. Well, I'm maybe not worse, but different in a bad way. Like, it requires so much from you because you're like doing so much in a short amount of time, and I just hated every waking hour of write-on competition. But if you guys want another video about that, I can talk about it. But so happy to be on the other side of it now on law review. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Okay, last big update for you guys. I am now Black Law Student Association Vice President. So now I'm on the e-board of BOLSA, the affinity group that I told you guys I was absolutely so grateful to be a part of. And a lot of that comes with some interesting, fun responsibilities and tasks that I hope I'll be able to vlog for you guys and just take you along that journey. It's gonna be really great. The organizations in law school are a little bit more intense than I've ever seen before. So like, it's very much a serious thing here, and I'm really excited to be a part of that. But yeah, that is 1L for you. Let's jump into 2L, take you along with me. Thank you for sticking by. For all of those who have been supporting my channel, even in my absence, thank you. For those of you who are joining, thank you so much. I'm like looking at my subscriber count, like, are these real numbers? Like, thank you guys so much for supporting and being on this journey. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you later. Bye.